On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, Shin YAMATAIKOKU pregame. And also, Ordeal Call 3, banner number 1, question mark. That voice crack looked a little odd on the audio, but we're trying out here. Hello, anyway.
We try.
We do. We try new things all the time. Hello. Welcome to Let's Talk FGO. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Omega, and today I have stiff shoulders. With me, as always, Lucky. He has no shoulder bones.
But hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying Fate Grand Order, a.k.a. Hell of a Tea Ceremony. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EA versions of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should go feel the Cosmos. Twin Cosmos. Cosmos.
But alrighty, yes, we're starting the show. It's, if you felt like we were a little light on FGO news last week, no longer. So, before we get any further, let me scrunkle my headphones slightly back into shape. First, we're going to remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons, like Adam Harp, Blacklist OG, Call Me Zed, Carlos Dragon, JDV9000, Just the Fae, Kaiser Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin Charvor, some guy named Bob, and Varian the Crow. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. Get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies. Thank you for your support, patrons.
Thank you.
All right. But yes, it's going to be, I don't know what kind of episode it's going to be. The episode's not recorded yet, but we did start slightly later than normal because I was slamming out a lot of show notes and stuff, and we have a few things to get through, such as me leaving a note to actually do Fanservant Friday, so we're going to get 2 of those. It does kind of work out, though. I'll talk about why later, but it's just a funny old time, chat. The first step is to probably make sure my microphone's a little closer and enunciate a little better, because I feel like I'm low-talking slightly. But, if I project too hard, I get really peaky, so I don't want to just yell into the microphone. But audio adjustments aside, sorry, my brain just went through my classic neuron firing tumbling. I just, in my head thought, yelling is bad, with the same intonation as Alistor saying, yes, swooping is bad. This is slightly relevant. Dragon Age comes out sometime.
Soon.
Late October? Late September?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, not too far.
I do believe October slot.
Kind of feeling like a stealth drop, but not really. It's just because Gaming Forder exploded. Anyway, all of this was actually set up to tell you that we're going to check in with your favorite Kohai.
Senpai! 起きてください.
Because it is time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, our regular segment for pro tips. Your professional tip for the day. We're going up to 5 exchange items this month. This was technically billed as part of the back-to-school campaign, but it doesn't happen until, the 31st, so it's to start the new month. But we're going up to 5. And that also means they've announced what our next items will be. So, your upcoming monthly items for the month of September will be Spiritrons, a.k.a. God Balls, the Orb, Homunculus, Ghost Lamps, Spinal Fluid, and Hero Proofs. I know some of you need them Hero Proofs.
I do.
Still a shitload. I'll probably be taking Spinal Fluid for a long time. Yeah, and you can also increase the amount of tickets you can get. They've kind of been doing that off and on with Master Missions as well, though. But yes, it should give you a little more diversity in the mats department. It's funny, because I think I, either last week or 2 weeks ago asked, hey, when do we get 5 tickets? And, hey, when do we get, 5-star EXPs in the MP shop? Spoilers for later news. We'll be covering that later as well. That said, with the back-to-school stuff going on, that's just, reduced AP on QP gen, so no records, no evils. We're chilling. Expect to hear more out of us soon, though, but, we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's me accidentally bumping the springs in my mic as I move my mouse wrist. Did you finish your Master Missions? This week, you need to perform 30 FP friend point summons, defeat 3 servants with the Heaven attribute, defeat 3 servants with the Chaotic alignment, defeat 3 servants with the Good alignment. Those are both separate missions, so Chaotic Good should count. Then defeat 15 Demonic trait enemies, and defeat 15 enemies of the Earth attribute. Those are separate from servants. All very much simple, hey, do some dailies or some shit. It's all perfectly normal. Because it's about to get crazy. Probably not actually literally crazy, because, 3-week event slots, but still, you got stuff to do. But before that, the JP news we were also all waiting for. With the chapter release of Archetype Inception, which is, I guess, what we're calling Ordeal Call 3, 2.5, something. But no, this is actually a genuine story release. So they're going to roll it out gradually. The first part of the story has dropped already. That is 8/28. The second part of the story will drop 9/11. I think that just happens to be like a Monday or Sunday or something. And the third part will drop 9/25. This is technically still a limited time event, but it will be added to main interlude later, and your progress will be saved. This called me earlier off mic to say that it really do be like Seraph 2.0. It is technically still a limited time event, but they're immediately foreshadowing that you will be able to access it later and keep your progress. So there are still like limited time event drops and stuff. And I do think, because of the way the banner I'm about to discuss works, that technically you can still access like the shop and stuff from summer, but it is not technically the summer event anymore. That said, we do have a banner. The banner is indeed, as pre-announced, BB Dubai, Tenochtitlan swimsuit, and MHXX altar. For adding many letters. They have clarified that our double secret welfare will be in part 3, so you gotta wait a whole month for that still. But to further double down that this is indeed a new story chapter, there are new mats released. We've got moons and cubes. I think specifically they're called like half-moon nuclei or something weird. They're moons. We're just gonna call them moons. No, sorry, moonlight nucleus. It looks like this, chat. Looks like this, patrons. It's a moon. And then, copy image. Cubes. Universal cubes is what the translation says, but cubes.
Cube.
And because I believe they're saying that after it's out there, there won't be any like new free quests that are cleared to handle Archetype Inception or anything. There will be free quests in the Bleached Earth for you to farm these mats. And that's where we are there. But also, Coin Fix Part 1 is in. Didn't take it that long to get that out there. So, coins from Bond 7 or higher are doubled or more. Like, the first times it's just straight up doubled, but the later ones are, like, tripled even. So, by Bond 15, you get a total of 420 coins. Previously, I think you got 120 coins. And the announcement that further coin increases are still coming. So, yeah, that's about it. We'll talk about the new servants much later.
Yes.
But, yeah, it happened. And also, I will repeat this again later, but that will be after a mailbag and several other news elements. But currently, BB Dubai is one of those servants who is locked to lower ascensions until a later story point. So, very much running like Oberon. And also, funnily enough, Sennorikyu, who I do not believe you can access her final ascension until after you clear the upcoming Guda Guda. Unless I'm smoking universal cubes, if you know what I'm saying.
You know, huffing that moon dust.
I mean, I do not. I'm looking at the. I know the images I steal off the wiki are tiny, but I'm looking at this bright blue glowing cube. You would probably not want to smash it up and snort it. That's probably pure photonic crystal shit. Actually, let me double check if they got
yeah,
fluff for
people do it anyways.
Oh, people will. Let me see if these actually have, because they're clickable. Let me see if they have a description, if it's translated. No, okay, it's not. I could feed it to Google Translate, but I won't. Interestingly, unless the wiki is very slow, it looks like so far you only need those new mats for like some of the new servants like append skills. Let me double check the Moonlight Nucleus. Yeah, so like and the wiki could just be slow to update because it's only been a couple of days, but they're saying that like BB Dubai needs like 9 Moonlight Nucleuses for her append skills. You know, XXA needs a couple. Once again, this probably reiterates my point that I once again made in the pre-show and will probably make again, or rather I am making again now, that we're getting 3 total story drops. I'm personally going to assume, especially because those are spaced out by like, 2-ish weeks, every new part is going to be a new banner. Not necessarily brand new servants on each banner, but I'm pretty sure that's a summon banner every drop. So we're slowly setting it up. Yeah, you have to clear the event to get it. So yeah. But we'll talk more about that later as well. So, next, we're moving back to EN, because we got a few things. First of all, the predicted gap filler event. We got Back to School Campaign 2024. Started 25th, ending the 8th of September. Cumulative login for 7 days to get a total of 20 Saint Quartz. Once again, I think this answers the concern you had, several weeks back about how NA might get a hold of the extra Saint Quartz from the apology for the Bond coins thing is... Yeah. Probably packed into like Back to School and other shit like that, hidden throughout some stuff. Everybody gets double FP during the duration. We got a renewal on the Start Dash campaign, which I think there was a Start Dash renewal at Anniversary as well. So multiple great times to get into FGO. For about a week, I think, it's half AP Treasure Vault. Get that QP. But also, as I did mention before, starting on 8/31 with the monthly refresh, DaVinci's shop will now discount 4-star EXPs and offer 5-star EXP packages. Thank you.
Okay, excellent.
It's real good. It's real good shit.
Listen,
and also,
once I get those heroes proofs, I'll be able to finally level up my last few servants. Then it's all that Grail grind, baby.
Yeah. Which also takes a fuck ton of EXP, so, being able to buy a few extra 5-stars is not going to be crazy. Summon banner for this is Koyan of Light and Salter until the 1st. And also during that MP Shop update, though they announced it as a separate drop, the CE Before Dawn, featuring Wodame, will be added to the MP Shop. When max limit break adds just plus 50 friend points when used on a support. So you get literally no benefit when you put it on your own service. It's only on friend support, but it does give you a little bit extra FP back as well. So if you're on that FP grind for them coins and them command codes, the whole thing. But also, they did pre-announce it, but we got hard and fast details as well on this capital is not me, that's them, Great Tea Ceremony Battle, Guda Guda new YAMATAIKOKU, the man who returned from hell. That, by the way, that's not a, I don't think that's a wiki translation. I'm pretty sure I grabbed that straight from the FGO website in English. This is the social media information that was provided to me. It'll start the 2nd and go until the 22nd. So I was very correct to call that Albert wouldn't do me dirty, and in fact, the event doesn't start until early September. And I believe it'll technically be the Moon Day as well. Let me double check, because it's 31st is tomorrow. Yeah, Sunday is that. And if it's the 2nd Pacific time, which is how it works, that'll also be... Well, actually, I don't know. With maintenance, that might be technically early Monday morning, late Sunday night. But still, you got a little bit of time. I'll be working on the Wanted for Senno DQ over the weekend.
Yeah.
I did not need to cram more work into my Friday, but we'll get there. Don't worry. But yes, I mentioned social media. Social media campaign for 6 Saint Courts. It's only for 6 Saint Courts, so we probably hit it. We've got time and point gates. The banner will be Senno DQ, NSSR Berserker, Keisuke Yaminami, coming in at the 4-star. And Mori Nagayoshi's back as the 3-star. The pregame will be coming below. Spoilers for that, though. If you've missed your Mori Nagayoshi copies, he is on every fucking rate up in this setup. It's a Mori Nagayoshi year, not an Izo year. So I feel like that's how I have to define Guda Guda releases. But yeah, all very solid news. We've had a couple of light weeks after the intense anniversary summer period. We're relaxing, and now we're going to get into our solid normal formula. And I'm pretty sure everything's all lined up out there. And I should say, this is just a brief aside. Technically, this is a What's Up topic, but I won't harp on it too much. But it is very funny to talk about, doing the math on the end of the month, counting for the 31st and stuff. A while ago, I think technically late last month, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game said they were going to announce their next ban list late September. It was clarified earlier this week in a description for a live stream that they mean to release the new ban list exactly on the 31st, so definitely the last day in August. And honestly, they probably only announced the exact date because they literally couldn't post anything on social media that wasn't the ban list without getting grief, including a couple of guys took it on themselves to post an image as the first reply every time, an image of a vomiting horse. So, not great, but I guess you technically got your way. You forced them to announce the date of the ban list anyway.
And this is why these people will feel vindicated and continue to do such things. Congratulations.
Yeah. That said, at least Konami chose to release it in probably this information in the most annoying way possible, which was a live stream to reveal a mysterious celebrity guest, which is one of the guys who is in One Direction. Zane, I think? Didn't realize he was a Yugist. Good for him. Anyway. Just a little bit of extra faff for you before we get into the Mailbag. Son of a bitch, I closed my Mailbag tab. When did I do that?
Gasp. I just realized I haven't opened up my Mailbag tab.
We're all fucking it up.
So give me 1 second.
Well, while he's pulling it up, I can vamp a little about other stuff and be like, I mentioned in the pre-show I'm trying out wearing a wrist brace today because my wrist was bothering me a little. I had a lot of typing to do. It's going okay. I know some of you also out there use wrist support for various things, so if you got any recommendations for a particular brand, because this is a hand-me-down, wrist brace, compression sleeve, whatever, let me know in the comments. But also, just in general, be in the comments. We appreciate your mailbags, obviously, and if you got questions, feel free to save them for the mailbag. We don't got a whole hell of a lot of those this week, but, we got a few. But also when I ask you to like leave a comment, that just actually like is a really good way to support us to the YouTube algorithm. And I think if you've watched the video for like 20 minutes to get here, it will not hurt you to like just post a thumbs up emoji in the comments below this video. It's real easy. You can do it right now, whether you're watching on your phone or your PlayStation 5 or your PC, wherever you watch YouTube videos. And trust me, the algorithm boogeyman, he's already got you. You watch this video for more than 5 minutes. Your recommendations? Boned. The least you can do is leave us a little comment of something. Throw in a little heart, a little smiley face, whatever. I don't care. Just I think YouTube would appreciate it if you did it. Also, just in general, we used to get more comments, but like, don't misbelieve that I don't see comments, Chad. We see them. I'll give you thumbs up and hearts and shit.
Alright, but with that, I have pulled up the mailbag. So, that means it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. Since I literally just pulled this thing up, I am reasonably certain that there are only 5 this week, but I will appreciate every single one of them, and we'll get to them right meow. Our first one comes from Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, Dear Lucky Omega, no question this week, sending good vibes, wah 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 wah, and wishing you well. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, Monster Girl Aficionado. I appreciate your support every week, as always. But with that, we move swiftly on. This next one comes from Cultivation Novice Axon Dao, who says, Heyo, Abyssal Reincarnator Lucky and Cyber Transcender Omega. Heh, that's pretty cool, actually. I don't think I have a longy worded question, but with me playing Black Wolf Wukong and SMT 5 of Vengeance, I was wondering if you guys have any culture-specific fantasy or fiction tropes you would like to see in other genres, or sorry, I accidentally did something weird. Very culturally specific fantasy or fiction tropes that you'd like to see in other genres or forms of media. For example, I think the whole idea of amassing faith and divine energy to ascend is very cool, but also the whole Chinese style of divine medicine has its own appeal as well. Have a good evening, and may the show be full of non-sleepy thoughts. This person actually kind of hit the head nail on for me. I'm not a very big fan of like Chinese novels in general, but I've always loved the concept of cultivation and eternal alchemy. Always thought it was cool, finding your Tao, finding your path, discovering rare ass ingredients, and you have to like do a super specific process to make a pill, and then that pill boosts your fucking power level. Nah, man, that's, to me, like, that kind of cultivation stuff is just the ultimate grind set mindset. And like, I would love to have seen more stuff like that in video games and whatnot. Usually you can get a pretty good fix through novels and stuff. Actually, I think that reminds me, I need to get back to Tao Wong's Thousand Li series. It has several books, and it's a pretty good cultivation journey. But other like very specific tropes and genres, I'm trying to think. No, not particularly. There's a lot of them that I like, but usually Chinese cultivation and alchemy, eternal medicine usually is at the top of things that I like to see.
I gotta say, as a shocking nobody, huge weeb over here. Hi. My ideas of even Western fantasy are so heavily influenced by all the video games I've played as a kid, and the anime I've watched. So, like, in general, I think a lot of just the bleed over of a lot of the traditional like Japanese folklore stuff back into like Western occultism is really interesting. Like, I almost feel like the way like yokai, demons, oni, etc. are treated in Japanese folklore is like a return to form for like how very old classical European demonology was. If you guys don't know, like a lot of those old like the Key of Solomon and stuff, those were supposed to not be like evil satanic magic, because the idea to a lot of the philosophers of the time was, well, God created everything, so the way you summon a demon is you invoke the name of God, and to just be like, all right, demon, God says you gotta listen to me or else I'm putting you back to hell, so it's like technically like morally neutral. And so there's a lot of, I think, interesting concepts of like, that sort of stuff going on. I also feel like I don't know why exactly, maybe it's just because I read White Wolf Scion at a very early age, which kind of had this idea, but Dante also did it, though. The tripart world kind of stuff. You know, you've got like underworld, normal world, overworld type stuff. Sucker for that kind of thing. And also just in general, I know that obviously they are part of a lot of different cultures' philosophies. I'm a sucker for a good elemental system. You start talking about like, yes, the fire consumes wood, but the water water extinguishes fire. I'm like, oh damn, man. You put an elemental rock, paper, scissors, I'm here. Fire, melt, ice. You know, I don't know. It's just, that's gotta be just like my brain being deep programmed at like age, 8 to 10 to play baby RPGs like Pokemon and shit. Whatever Final Fantasies I had lying around, but I'm very interested in the philosophical implications, which goes back to a lot of Japanese Zen philosophy and also Chinese Wuxing as well, of just like the philosophical concepts of elements. And Aristotle did a little of that too. Fire, air, rise, water, earth, sinks, that kind of stuff. And I don't know, that just tickles my neurons, chat.
All right, but I think we've answered that one enough, so we will move on. This one comes from the Tyrant King praying that the new Jurassic movie is good. What was it, Jurassic Dominion?
Yeah.
No,
I think that was the last one. Wait, what's the new one?
What is the new one?
Hey, it's got Grahatia in it. That guy's killing it. Hopefully he's making fucking bank, too.
I am ready for some Graha riding dinosaur images to start popping up.
Also, by the way, I would want to say that's pretty wild. In the screenshots they've shown, I've forgotten his name off the top of my head because I don't use it a lot, but he's like literally crouched down next to Scarlett Johansson. So like that's the guy who plays Grahati in Final Fantasy 14, y'all. he's fucking hanging out with Scarlett Johansson. And hopefully he still feels like he loves the VO work and doesn't have any problems coming back to the booth, because we sure love him down here. But yes, he has a question after the Hoping Jurassic.
Question: Hey guys, today I have a question for each of you. For Lucky, what are you looking forward to in the fall season of anime? For Omega, any predictions on the ban list tomorrow? Anyway, that's it for me. Sending good vibes your way, and hope you have a great evening and Labor Day. Wah 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 wah. Well, you probably have like, what do you know about ban list, Omega?
My prediction for the ban list: some cards will become forbidden, some cards will become limited. God help us. Please tell me no cards go to semi-limited. And to let Lucky know, the semi-limited list in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you can only have 2 copies out of 3. It is generally regarded by the wider audience who uses math and stuff as being mostly useless. But they still put stuff on it anyway. So other than that, my only actual prediction about the ban list is that no matter what happens, somebody will be unhappy.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When it comes to anime, there are quite a few things that I am excited for. The new Ranma 1/2 should be debuting this fall. I am super excited about that. Ranma's was one of me firsts.
Yeah, I should check that out. I read a lot of that manga when I was young.
Oh yeah, same. We're gonna have a new season of Natsume Yujincho, which also I'm super excited about. Like I said, that's like Natsume Yujincho, Natsume's Book of Friend is just one of my comfy animes that I can just lay down in bed, turn the lights off, and just zone out watching. It's something that I've watched so much that I don't actually need the subtitles anymore because I just remember the conversations. I've watched it like that many times. What else was there actually? Actually, let me pull the list. Those are only 2 I know off the top of my head. Oh yes, we're getting a second season of Sword Art Online Alternative, Gun Gale Online 2.
Ooh.
Yeah. So again, pink girl with bunny ears running around with a P90.
I believe I had heard that they were working on a second season, but I did not realize it was coming out so soon.
Yeah, no, same.
I liked alternative GGO.
Yeah, GGO was great. I am interested in Suma Shokugetsu Ninaru. My wife became an elementary school student. This one caused a bit of a stir on the Twitters because people just saw a title and made immediate and wrong conclusions.
Not realizing that most Japanese manga and light novel titles are... I mean, I don't think they have search engine optimization, but that's kind of how they're written.
Yeah.
Like, you are meant to be in a hobby bookstore and look at the spine of this thing and go, huh?
What? Well, it's actually a bit more than a reincarnation story. Like, I have read it. It's it's a very emotional story and dealing with, trauma and, regrets and whatnot. It is not a fucking, quick cash grab title that's basically based around, clickbait and whatnot.
No, it's
but
just
other
that,
than that,
like I said, light novel and manga authors are on that fucking grind set, baby.
they are. Other than that, though, probably not too much. Like, there's a fair amount of, like, ones that I'm passively interested in, like Goodbye Dragon Life. That one seems alright, but it's also a weird one, because I read the manga for that. We got a couple villainous ones, and other such, so I will see what pops off. I'm not entirely sure. Unfortunately, I've been really bad about watching anime at this core. Not as much as stuck with me as I thought it would. A few things
probably
did.
Doing better than me. I don't think I watched any anime this core, but that's because, like I said, my TV habits kind of like ebb and flow.
Oh, same.
So we're in a low. I'm not in a watching mood. Like I'm not even like watching random crap on Netflix or anything either. I'm just not doing it.
Oh, that reminds me. Apparently, it has been, I don't remember where I heard this from, but apparently, CDPR, they said that they are going to be going forward with more, Cyberpunk 2077 animation projects. And on one hand, I'm like, that's very cool, but at the other hand, I was like, man, can anything they do top the feeling that we got watching Edge Runners?
I mean, it kind of depends on what they do, but no, I think. I mean, it's not like lightning in a bottle because it was done by Studio Trigger, but like Edge Runners was such a perfect encapsulation of what the cyberpunk setting is about with the, liquid slick visual design of, Trigger doing the work and combining the fact that like, again, this is something that nobody talked about, but hey, all of the songs they used in like all of the like real sounding music they used, that was all shit that was already in the game. So like the game's produced audio was already like really good, and it just made kind of like this unholy trinity of lots of people working their fucking butts off to make an amazing show. Was it a perfect show? No, but like they did a lot of real good work there.
It was it wasn't the perfect show, but it was definitely what Cyberpunk 2077 needed.
Yeah, I mean it probably revived the game. Like I think they were still gonna release Phantom Liberty like in that time frame and stuff.
Well, no, actually, I think I've actually I have read a few interviews, and no, I do think like they never said this like straight out, but I do think the release of Edge Runners and the renewed interest in Cyberpunk around that time really gave CDPR the juice they needed to really knuckle down and push it out.
Yeah, because I will say that it was perfectly timed because the Edge Runner release was right around the time they did like their like 1.5 or 6 patch, I want to say.
I want to say 6 off the top of my head, but I could be wrong.
I think it was 6. So that was a period when they had effectively fixed most of the baseline bugs and other nonsense you saw in a lot of those clickbait YouTube videos. Which again, I think not everybody, but I think several of those big videos that were just clips of bugs and glitches happening, some of them were done by people who were deliberately not downloading day one patches to make better content. Obviously, that's not every bug. I know Lucky experienced a lot of shit. I experienced loads of crashes in 1.0, but it was
Remember, I played
worse.
I will beat this dead horse, but I beat the original Cyberpunk 2077 on my PS4, which was lauded as the worst console to play it on. Yeah. So again,
that is like I think technically that is the worst version, but you did it.
Yeah.
But no, so like that 6-ish area, 0.6-ish area was like they scrunched most of the bad bugs. They'd reworked gameplay several times and like balanced out a lot of your perks and stuff. It wasn't quite the 2.0 overhaul that they did for to coincide with Phantom Liberty, but it put the game in a state where, compared to all those videos you saw on Twitter and YouTube when the game dropped, it looked and played a lot better. So that when people saw Edge Runners and they realized, oh shit, this is for that Cyberpunk game. That game looked like dog shit on the internet, and then they actually like check it out with the 1.0. It was on sale because CDPR are very smart about these things, and you actually pick it up and play it, and you're like, oh shit, this is good. I don't know what people are telling them about. And then 2.0, like, shout out to CDPR, but the 2.0 release and Phantom Liberty are like some of the greatest shit in all time. I just wish that I didn't have a horrible habit of burning my ass out playing Cyberpunk, because I still haven't technically.
Yeah, I still haven't beat Phantom Liberty. I'm still at the fucking party.
I know. I got through the party to the next bit, but I'm still like, damn, dude. I'm like, because they released me back into the open world segment, and I'm like, shit, dude, what do I do? Do I want to like keep crunching up the main story until I get to like, you know, the almighty meet Hanako, or do I want to keep crunching Phantom Liberty? I'm not sure. But the DLC in the story is really good. It's just one of those things where, Chad, I don't think you understand how many fucking hours I've put into Cyberpunk 2077 since it launched. I think I'm at like 500-ish hours, which is technically nothing compared to the amount of hours I've played of Final Fantasy 14. That's, you know, going to be at 1,500 hours soon. But still, like, for a single-player RPG game, I played a lot of Cyberpunk. It's great. I'll have to get in there. That does actually remind me, though, of not anime-related, but for TV, Amazon and so on did just announce, I believe, that we've got what the date for the next season of Legend of Vox Machina is.
Oh, I did remember seeing that.
Series. Let's see. October 3rd, I think, for third season? Yeah. That one's going to be a little sad, and I want to see what they want to do, because unfortunately, the big bad who was introduced in season 2 that they didn't finish was a dragon played by the late, great Lance Reddick, so...
really?
I think they said that they had all his dialogue recorded already, but we'll see. Knowing that the Critical Role animation is produced by the Critical Role guys who are all, you know, voice actors and voice directors, I'm sure there will be an in memoriam because they're very plugged into the industry. But yeah, this may end up being some of his last work if they've got his full voice lines in. And October 3rd is when that comes out. So you got about a month.
All right, but I think that is enough on that. So we will move swiftly on. This next one comes from Ardent Absyminian? Absyminian. Apples and oranges. Well, whoever this is, they aren't sure if it's going to make it in. But they say...
Good for you.
Good job. But they say, have a great Labor Day weekend, and hopefully no one has to work on Monday. People are going to have to work on Monday.
Technically, we don't have to work on Monday, but we'll probably still stream.
Oh yeah, man, you're doing that zero grind, baby. Kicking ass, taking names, and using Japanese moves that I can't remember the names of.
Ryuenjin, Raijin Geki.
So you can remember them. But, yeah, here's a good weekend. I'm looking forward to doing a bunch of fun stuff. Mostly playing Warframe, playing Civ, and probably playing Rain.
Yep.
I probably should just put on some anime on the background and just let it go. Like nothing I actually want to watch, but there's just something to me comforting about just having something on a screen.
Yeah, it's just all part of the content. Soup. Always multitasking.
Always be multitasking. I'm multitasking right now.
I'm kind of multitasking because I'm like looking at the Discord and occasionally checking Twitter. I'm not like crazy though.
Not lucky is in Warframe right now on the plains of Eidolon, flying around in his archwing, shooting Grenier and capturing animals. Y'all, it's one of those things of like, oh yeah, man, I really do like Warframe.
Well, I feel like the Warframe thing, we do have one more mailbag, but it's a slight tangent because we can afford it. The Warframe thing is like, for you, that's like a constant battle not to be Warframing. Like, for months leading up to this, you were just like, no, I can't open the door. I can't let the dam break. And then it just all comes down and you're like, fuck it, I guess I'm playing, 10,000 more hours of Warframe.
Oh yeah, no, it checked. Aaron showed me. I basically in like the past week or 2 weeks, I played 70 hours of Warframe. I was like, this is also kind of my like Final Fantasy 14 escape because before that I was putting all those hours into that. But like I've mentioned this on our 14 stream and other places. Like the part of like we are in the zone that I generally do not like the most of new X packs is between the 0.0 and the 0.1.
We're in the weakest part, the long cold morning after the X-Pack drops.
Yeah.
And I think I phrased it this way, like, I didn't actually have to go through the gap with Endwalker, right? But I got to see what came after. I feel like for X-Packs like Shadowbringers and Endwalker, where, like, the end of the X-Pack is, like, such a giga-hype moment, you're just kind of like, that was cool. Dawn Trail has a much more, I think, lukewarm reception where it's just like it's literally set up that you have more shit to do. We're just kind of like, well, we're here now.
Yeah, sit for a while. And I'm like, I don't want to sit for a while. I want my next task.
Yeah, and I think we still got a month or two to wait before we're really cooking with other stuff.
Yeah, we should be getting an announcement like at some point.
I believe they've announced an evening with Yoshu P somewhere. I think he's going to be on a panel in, like, Australia or something. That's the wrong news desk. Yes, he's going to be in Ooh, that's not until October. But still, he's going to be in Melbourne, October 8th. That will probably be pretty close to the actual patch hit, so we'll probably get some real-ass deets. But yeah.
So...
Good.
But yes, it's also been a help that both Aaron and Loth play Warframe. Like I said, I was actually playing Warframe with Aaron earlier. We were getting our ass kits by Kuva Grenier. There was much screaming, much panicking. And Loth, we've been trying to get him through content so we can get to more in-game content, so that's been fun. It's like, all we need is one more person, and we'd have a full squad. That's the great thing about Warframe. Everything's in squads of 8. I mean, not squads of 8, squads of 4. So that's all you need is 3 friends, and you can do just about anything. Sometimes you don't even need 3 friends. Sometimes they make you do a quest all by yourself, and you're all like, why am I suffering now?
Yeah, I am interested in Warframe, but also I'm not yet ready to throw 10,000 hours into it, and I'm just kind of like I said, like cruising on gaming.
Yeah,
Play a little bit of Dave the Diver before bed. Still logging in to do a little bit of 14 stuff most days and a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh. That's just my fucking brain's been deep poisoned. There's I don't know what parts of your brain are the ones that aren't developed when you're a kid, like your temporal lobe or your hypothalamus or whatever. But when I was like 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old, Konami Entertainment and Upper Deck slapped a little tiny piece of cardboard in there, and now my neurons have to go through that cardboard barrier. So I play Yu-Gi-Oh, even though I don't always have fun. Sometimes we have a little fun. It's better when, like everything else, there's new content to chew through. I really don't like doing the fucking ladder grind, the fucking League of Legends ass ranked grind they've got. It's got all the same levels, but yeah, I still check in every day and play a little bit. Keeps me on my toes.
Toesies. All right, but I do think that's enough on that. So we move on to our next one. Agent 418 saying, "Hello, Lucky and Megan. Have a good weekend, y'all." Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You as well. Or else.
Their classic spot at the bottom. Also, I think this is the first time I've seen it, but rocking that 4-year YouTube membership badge with the deep purple. I don't remember if I picked the order of the colors or not, but it's a good purple.
But that is it for this week's mailbag. Everyone, thank you so much. And remember, we post usually the mailbag the Friday before the show goes live.
Yep. And this, Lucky usually deletes them after.
Yeah.
I say usually because I'm pretty sure somebody replied to, like, last week's on, like, Monday or something. I'm sorry. Your question does not count if it was on last week's. Lucky will say what week it is for when he posts it usually. I'm pretty sure that's part of his, like, boilerplate, so you can keep track of these things. Consider joining our Discord if you want to hit us up with different questions. But also mailbag. Okay, but that's the end of the mailbag. That means it's time for probably the meat of the show. The Caldeus Free-Talkius. Let's just start at the top where I got it, because that's kind of what the chronological order is. New Servant Deets. As usual, we will begin with the SSR, because that's the longest one anyway. So, BB Dubai, or BB Cosmos. She's both. And yes, those of you paying attention at home, it does seem like BB Dubai and BB Cosmos, despite being the same unit, have different colored hair ribbons. What does this mean? I don't fucking know yet. I'll find out in 2 years. Shut up.
I'll tell you one thing. It means that you guys didn't know.
They didn't know.
They didn't.
Chat. God, I feel like I'm watching too many clips of Twitch streamers. I'm just thinking in Twitch emotes.
Lucky feels slightly vindictive and validated.
Go for it. Everybody can be a little petty. Anyway, BB Dubai is still a Moon Cancer. She only has 2 Ascensions so far. She's leaning, as usual, for a BB type unit. More on HP than attack. Not to the crazy extremes, but she's getting there. She is QQAAB. Low MP gain, slightly high hit counts, and I do mean relatively low. She's got like 4 hit quick and arts cards, but she's 0.33 NP gain. So you may want to keep minding that. But spoilers for later, she has an arts NP, so it doesn't matter. You'll just rub Castoria on it. That said, we can't talk about her NPs yet. That's right, I said S. We got multiple shits. We got to talk about the skills first. First skill is a team-wide 10 to 20% battery, 10 to 20% arts up for 3 for the team as well, and also gives the whole team, except herself, a preservation target tag. So she sticks a little, pink diamond on them. Also, specifically for allies who are Moon Cancer or Living Humans, that same buff that Archetype Earth has, so apparently that's just team comp for Moon Cancers now. Moon Cancers and Living Humans. gives them 20 to 30% NP gain and NP damage for 3 turns. The second skill is basically the reverse of this. She strips all buffs from enemies. Your buffs, fuck them. She gives the entire enemy team 80 to 100% attack down for 1 turn.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Very funny. Nope. Gives the whole enemy team 3 turns of 20% arts res down, and the way arts resistance down works is it's basically the same buff mechanically as arts effectiveness up, so she is effectively giving your whole team 40% arts up. And also gives them her non-preservation tag for 3. BB literally tags you for deletion. These files are marked for deletion.
Terrifying, but I'm into it.
Also, guess what? More Moon Cancer Living Allies buffs. Those guys get 20 to 30% star gen and crit damage for 3 turns. Her final skill, though, is the one we're after. It gives herself -1 skill cooldown, just recharges her skills by 1 turn, is a 30 to 50% battery on herself, once again reminding you that you don't even need to double cast Doria this shit. And lastly, it gives you the ability to pick which NP she uses for 3 turns. This is because BB Double Donk here has 2 NPs.
Double donk.
Don't ask me these things, okay? I just type words and stuff happens. Nobody's ever yelled at me about it. But she has 2. Her default, which is the one you're going to be using until you can access this skill, is a AoE arts, and it's pretty normal. She gets 30% bonus damage versus heaven and star attributes first for 1 turn. She also gives the enemies 20% arts resistance down after for 3 turns. So, for arts looping, that skill set that needs so much help. And its overcharge effect is it does bonus damage to enemies who have the non-preservation tag based on overcharge, starting at 150%. So, basically, if you're heavens or star, get fucked. If you have the non-preservation tag, get fucked. If you use arts, you're ready to get fucked. Her second one, though, is a support NP. It's also still arts. It gives the whole team 1 full turn of invul and debuff immunity. Gives them 30 to 50% NP damage for 3 turns based on her NP level. And lastly, if your allies have that preservation tag I mentioned before, they get 30 to 50% battery based on overcharge.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, this does mean that BB Dubai really wants you to roll those extra NP copies. But your overcharge plus levels will also go a long way on this servant. It's kind of like a Diet Jean NP, but if you're willing to go that extra mile on overcharge, more team-wide juice.
The juice.
Because it's given them a lot. Now, keep in mind that BB Dubai herself cannot acquire the preservation target buff. I do believe that the way it's worded on the wiki, her NP only gives the charge to allies with that tag who aren't her anyway, so even if you're double BB Dubaiing, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So she can't, crazy refund herself, but she already has a effective, 70% battery on herself because she's a team-wide 20 and a 50 on herself, and she reduces her own skill cooldowns by 1. So, she can generate decent NP. They knew what they were cooking. Also, she's BB and a Moon Cancer, so she has a shitload of passives. She has Item Construction C for more debuff chance. She has Magic Resistance EX, like a fucking ruler out here, just 20% debuff resistance all the time. She has Goddess Essence A as well for even more debuff resist and also some extra damage. And then she has a couple of unique ones. First of all, she has a passive which just gives her a permanent 20% crit resistance and 20% star weight up. So first of all, among Moon Cancer, she's always getting them stars. And also she's got, like I said, extra resistance. But also, first of all, she attack for 20% attack up versus evil, non-servants, and enemies who have anti-good damage up. That's right, just passively. If you're evil, if you're trying to hurt good people, or you're not a servant, get fucked. But also, she protect. She has a passive 20% defense up against enemies who are good, have anti-evil damage, or are servants. That's right, she gets 20% defense up against servants all the time. Not insanely strong, but very powerful. I don't know if this exact combo of her maximum battery status breaks anything, because it does require extra overcharge levels to swing, or you have to be invested in the NP5 and generate a shitload of NP gauge to get those extra levels. But the ability to switch NPs and her NP stays switched for 3 turns definitely gives you a lot of opportunity for farming and also boss support. If you set up her NP switch, that's an NP. If you can get that one running multiple turns back to back, you're, like I said, looking at a Jean-level defensive NP. Hard Invul, complete debuff immunity for 1 turn, and getting some big team-wide charge. Also, I think she slots in very nicely to support a team comp of Moon Cancers plus living humans, which is something that Archetype Earth already kind of like had a funny niche with. So now you actually have more units to get in there. I think this is really good game design, and I wonder if this, if the part 2 story is going to wrap up next year and may or may not be a third part in FGO1. Nasu says he's gonna feel out how the audience feels. But I'm really wondering if this is the kind of game design we're going to see for the last bit here, because it's really interesting. Like, honestly, if BB Dubai was just an AoE Arts Moon Cancer farmer, I think she has potential in there because she's got the kind of like team-wide and self-buffs that work. The fact that she can also, when you've got her skills fully leveled and stuff, pivot for several turns, and you can just like sit on her NP versus a boss to be like, oh shit, the boss is going to do something I don't like. Turtle up. Very interesting. Like it a lot. Next up, we've got Tenochtitlan Summer. She's rolling out. She's not going by Talak because she's not a pretender anymore. She is our first new SR Moon Cancer. We literally have not had an SR Moon Cancer since regular Bubba. Like, unless I'm going crazy, I double-checked the Moon Cancer list. They're all 5-star, baby. So, very stonks. Now, Tenno here is got more attack but less HP than Vanilla BB. Not hard to swing, but that's how it is. She's QQ, Bubba. Higher NP gain and hits. So she's like, got like 4s and everything and is 0.68, I want to say. So up on the upper up. And we can also just say her NP first. It's AoE Quick, which is a first for Moon Cancers. I think all of them have been Buster or Arts until now as well. It's Pierce for 1. Gets piercing first. Does bonus damage versus super large. After the hit, it gives all enemies 20% defense down for 3 turns. And her overcharge increases NP damage first, based on overcharge, starting at like 20%. All in all, pretty solid stuff. Her first skill is a 20% battery for the team, gives the team 500 to 1000 HP regen, and 10% attack up for 3 turns, and also reduces all enemy attack by 10% for 3 turns. So just decent spread of skills. Second skill is a 3-turn taunt on self, a 30 to 50% defense up for 3 turns, big stonks, and also, when hit, she gets a 10% NP damage up. Both of these effects are for 3 turns. So you're looking at, if you can hold this for a little bit, you're looking at a lot of NP damage up. Final skill is the pretty typical 20-30% Buster and Quick Up on self for 3 turns, 1 turn of Evade, and also, a new funny one, gives Bunny Servants, that's right, we got a new trait for this, not animal traits, not animal ears, Bunny Servants, gives them 20-30% crit up for 3, and reduces their skill cooldowns by 1. Bunny team comps, here we go.
Does Skahawk count as a bunny? With her costume?
I believe in her costume, yes. Much like the costume for Saber Shiki. I can actually pull up the full trait list. Let me see who's on it. Just because it'll be funny. And I'm sure some of you want to know. But yeah, new trait, who dis? And honestly, like, even if it is trait locked, might as well skill cooldown for allies is pretty stonks. While I'm grabbing the trait list, she also has passives, obviously. We're looking at Territory Creation EX for big damage on that 1 arts card. She's got Divinity E for a very slight buff. She gets a passive to give herself 20% crit up on waterside battlefield specifically. And also she has a unique passive which gives her 5% arts quick and crit all the time. That means, by the way, her arts cards are like 17% up at all times. Thank you for stacking. But also, it gives the entire party 200 damage cut while she's on the field. Just everybody gets it. All right, so let's see. So with your costumes, you've got Saber Shiki, Saber Astolfo counts, specifically the 3rd ascension of Summer, Anne, and Mary. Costumes Kahak.
Yep.
3rd ascension of regular Anne and Mary. I guess they both have bunny ears. Costume Astolfo only. Koyan of Light. Costume Paul Bunyan. Ascension 2 of Berserker Castoria. Ascensions 1 and 3 of Ruler Artoria. Obviously herself. Ascension 3 of Super Bunyan. And all forms of Awazaki Aoko, which is slightly cheating, but here we are.
I mean, her skill pops the bunny, so...
Yeah. So, yeah, no, like, honestly, decent spread. Skahawk is also a quick unit. Summer Castoria, the Berserker, really strong unit. You got Koyan and Light in here for very funny team comp stuff. should have a few different tricks you can try. But yeah, pretty good. Got her own unique role, but also plays well with a team. And like I said, she's got a piercing AoE with super giant damage. And also, she's back. Achan's back. Tell a friend. She's quit being an idol. She's got a tan and become a Reaper. So, funnily enough, MHXXA is roughly equal in stats to regular Double X. She's got like 100 difference, literally 100 on attack and HP here. And she has notably more attack than her idol self for about the same HP. Double XA's NP is Single Target Buster. It gives her 30% damage up versus Lawful and Good for 1 turn. Those are separate buffs, by the way, so they stack. It also does bonus damage to rulers. It's the 150% extra damage, so it's basically like a free NP level worth of damage. And also, after she's done, she just gets 20% battery back. Just like my fucking sabers, my Artorias. The overcharge effect is also she amps NP damage for 1 turn first. Her first skill is a 2 hits 3 turns invul, a 10 to 20% attack up for self on 3, and 5 to 15 stars now, and 5 to 15 stars later, by which I mean per turn for 3 turns. She's generating stars. Also, as I didn't say it earlier, but as a reminder, also still 4-star foreigner. So, same rarity and general stat level as Double X and her idol self. Second skill is a pretty normal 20 to 30% buster up. Gives her extra star absorption on buster cards and a 20 to 30% crit up for 3 turns. So just buster, buster, buster. Her final skill gives all enemies -1 charge. Your NP charge, get rid of it. She then gains 10% NP for each enemy on the field. Which, keeping in mind the way this works, that might be 60%. Or it might be 30. Who knows? Oh, by the way, it's also 10 to 20% battery anyway, if I'm understanding this right. Because that scales with skill level. So, yeah, you're looking at this as probably a 50% battery, and could be a, 80% battery, maybe. It also gives her 20 to 30% NP gen for 3 turns. Her passives are Domain D for a little bit extra debuff resistance and also generating stars all the time. She still has her Madness Enhancement C, so those buster cards clap even better. And she has Magic Resistance B, but she also has her Ultra Reactive passive now at A+, for another further 21% debuff resist. So her debuff resist is crazy.
Crazy!
There's really nothing flashy here. It's just damage. It's just more damage. This feels like an apology for Idol X's kit, because that was much more anemic damage-wise. It was like trying to make her do like damage niche that didn't really work out. She was a free foreigner, so we forgave it, but like Double XA is a killer, straight up. Like I said, if you're a ruler, go to prison. 1,000 years jail. You will die, because she's gonna get bonus damage for Lawful and Good, which is most of them, and then also does bonus damage to rulers. So no, it's pretty stonks, and like I said, she can get pretty heavy attack bonuses up, and even though she does not have a lot of cards, which actually I realized I didn't write down her card deck. I must have forgotten. I was scrunching a little at certain points of writing this. Like I said, my typey hand's been bothering me. I was probably too shaken up by her ascensions, which are also gold. Thank you, Bun Bun. Because we keep the joke of the first one being fully space armored, but she's got like a mecha armor in a hoodie. It's great. But she is still her gorilla deck, so it's QABBB. Her NP gain on attack is 0.65. All of them are 4 hits. So like, might have a little bit of a time charging that NP, so that the fact that she can get that big multiplier on her 3rd skill, not crazy. Like it's pretty reasonable, but still, like, big juice, big gassin'. Well, yes, I suspect if you can encounter Double X as a boss in the ruler one, in the Moon Cancer one, I should say, when you're expected to use rulers, it'll be good. But also, I do believe that means that Ordeal Call number 4 is going to be the ruler-themed one, so, it's going to be handy later. This is a secret tool we'll need for later. But yeah, that's our new servants. All of them pretty solid. Like, no duds. All of them look great art, doing, great good stuff. All in all, a pretty solid collection. And I kind of feel like a lot of them were kind of... I want to say, like, unlike cases where sometimes I feel like we have summer units tacked on just cuz, like, I've talked about this before, I really feel like Summer Gareth was designed much earlier. It's just that they, like, didn't have her set up for when they made her, they didn't have the time for her, so she feels like a much older unit design. all of the summer units, including our last batch as well, feel very modern in their design, doing very strong things, doing a lot of stuff. And we still have an unknown welfare coming from this. Will they be a Moon Cancer? Will we get another Moon Cancer welfare?
Oh, there can't be another Moon Cancer welfare.
I mean, probably not. It is the It is like the Moon Cancer Ordeal Call, but I don't know. I don't know if we need another one, especially after another pretty good 4-star.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm pretty sure all these guys were selected for purposefully to be in story and also be good summer alts. So yeah, we're having fun. Speaking of having fun, that means that at about an hour 7-ish, I'm just going to round up to an hour 10, but we won't lie. It's an hour 7-ish. We're going to talk about the Neo YAMATAIKOKU pregame. That's what I called it in my notes. It is kind of interesting to hear the translation. They went, new YAMATAIKOKU. In Japanese, it was Shin YAMATAIKOKU, which can also be like true, the new, the perfected. But yeah, it's time for YAMATAIKOKU 2, which is intentionally supposed to be a bit of a follow-up to, our previous YAMATAIKOKU-themed Guda Guda event, with the welfare being Io, who is the, successor to Queen Himiko.
Yep.
And our boy Keisuke Yamanami being released from NPC jail.
Yay!
So, everybody at home, you should be pretty familiar with this format by now. We got 20 days to do this event. It's got time gates, and it's got a point ladder. How will you be getting those points? Well, guess what? You'll also be making tea. You'll acquire red, green, and yellow tea leaves, and you'll turn them into first aid spray. I mean tea. This joke came to me just now as I was writing this down. But basically, there'll be a tab in the shop for this. Brewing tea costs just leaves. It produces a certain amount of points in intervals of, I did not write it down, but I will say here, you've got intervals of 6K, 7.5K, and 9K points, though you need to clear higher level quests to get access to the 9K point tea recipes. But in return, in addition to points, you also get various mats and QP. You get 1 million QP per teacup or more. And the 7.5s are EXPs instead. And you get both EXP and 1.5 million QP for the 9K point rewards. So yeah, that's just it. You just get so much tea leaves and you get stuff. I mean, I could say what mats they are. You're gonna get, some dragon fangs, some chains, some spinal fluids, some seeds. You can also get ghost lanterns, phoenix feathers, magatamas, and night metals. And then the third tier are demon hearts, black tallow, and oni flames as well. It's like decent spread of mats. Also, you can convert tea leaves. There's a tab in the shop for this as well. 4 of one color turns into 1 of any other color. So, hypothetically, if you're farming a node that only gives you so many different colors of tea leaf, but that's just where your best team comp is, you can actually, fix that, which is good. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because the recipes are shit like, for example, just to list you the first tier you can get, the 6K point ones, you can get access to one that costs 30 each of green and yellow, green and red and yellow. Or, after you clear the second quest, you can get access to matcha tea, which is 20 of each color. So, whatever you got, you can make it work. Very good feature. So, this will have a main story quest. You're going to have 12 elements on the front half, 10 number chaptered prologue, and some outro stuff. And also, our usual for Guda Guda, our super spicy fun second half extra. That'll have 7 quests and opener as well.
Okie dokie.
This will net you a total of 12 St. Quartz, a temporary then permanent EO, 3 EO NP copies, from those extra quests mostly, 2 Grails, many CE XPs, and your government-mandated Guda Guda Medusa CE. There's a law in everything. EO is 2 XP, times 2 XP during this, by the way. Now, for your main story quest, your fights are pretty normal. Enemies are going to have persistent buffs to do, on-hit stuff when they attack you to, reduce your star gen by, a lot, 80% for one turn, or steal your HP in intervals, usually, 1K, that kind of stuff. Keep that in mind. You're looking at mostly sabers, lancers, and assassins. We do have a few real fights. There's also, though, a boatload of no-battle nodes as well, so it's kind of spread out. Quest number 3 is going to be against a Blythe-looking motherfucker. He's a wolf with a sword. A saber with, 209, 271k HP. You have to mandatorily take EO with you on this fight. His NP as an enemy boss unit is single target, and it seals NP and skills for one turn. So watch out for that. Also, Every turn, he'll drain your NP by a little bit. The wiki does not specify a percentage to increase his NP by an extra tick. Then Quest 7 is the final boss fight. You're going to fight 2 Berserker bosses, one with 158 and 256k HP, 2 break bars. The other is 181, 217, 327k HP. You once again must use Io, and she must go in the front row, and this is your temporary one because you get the permanent one for finishing this quest. But she does get big story buffs. You're going to want to kill the enemy with the 3 break bars first, because the one with 2 break bars, if you break 1 bar, will give the boss a lot of passives to fully heal them.
That's slightly terrifying.
So, yeah, don't do that. It'll be, the other boss gets fully healed if they die, and also your entire front row gets a debuff, where if they die, the other boss gets fully healed. Don't do that. Kill the guy with 3 bars first. They're both Berserkers, so watch out for that. Foreigner is about to go crazy. Separate bullet point for the extras, because they're all listed in main story, and I think they appear like main story nodes, but they are very much the usual for Guda Guda, where you get, funny little challenge quest extras. But I do believe they will have story intros. Extra number 1, you got 1 Berserker boss, and there's also some mobs. That boss has 318k HP, no break bars, has lots of guts. Yeah, and the Saber mobs who taunt, so you're going to have to do AoEs and stuff. Extra number 2 has an assassin boss with 185 and 295k HP. He is immune to debuffs permanently.
Okie dokie.
This is post LB4, so some of these quests are mean. He also does some other on-hit stuff, like reduce your crit damage and other things like that to watch out for, but it's not crazy. Extra number 3 has another Berserker boss. There's a lot of Berserker bosses in this, in case you can't tell. They've got 228 and 348k HP, 2 break bars. They got a lot of bullshit with quick charging their NP. Every break bar, they'll get a couple charges, and they can do skills to charge buffs, so watch out for that. Extra quest number 4. I'm just gonna dob him out. It's against Izo, but he's drunk. He has 122 and 218k HP. Literally, he gets a debuff at the start called Hungover. He has a 30% chance to seal his own NP. He has chances to debuff himself a lot. When you break his first bar, he'll get, plus 100% attack up, but every turn he'll go down by, 20%. So, yeah, no, it's funny. Extra battle number 6 is against 6 fucking Okitans, all alter egos with, 300k HP. They have an 80% resistance to AoE NPs. But you only need to kill the one that it specifically has 316,000 HP to win. They're also level 63, I want to say. So keep that in mind. You only have to kill 1 to win. Keep that in mind. The final quest, it's literally called Final Quest, at least in the wiki. It's versus Super Sen. She has 153, 234, sorry. I'm running up by 1,000 there. And 287k HP in 3 break bars. She gets a lot of bullshit, she'll go invulnerable for a turn. She gets lots of extra gutses. She resists critical attacks, and also she gets 50% resistance against arts and buster cards. So use quick. Oh, and actually I miscounted there. Extra number 5, I forgot to say as well. You have to fight some kind of green tea god. He's a caster with 157 and 323k HP. He's green, so do not hit him with quick cards. Bad stuff will happen to you. He gets a 40k HP heal or something. But also at the start of the battle, he randomly seals either arts or buster cards for 3 turns. So plan accordingly. Like I said, the extra shit for your NP copies and some extra stuff, we're really not fucking around. We're post LB4. There's some mean stuff in here. So you'll have, luckily you'll have 2 weeks to figure that shit out. Yeah, I know, it's a little ridiculous. But no, seriously, this boss is he the giant Grail God goo guys from earlier Guda Gudas, but green? He's a caster. Like I said, he gets extra buffs and heals 20k HP if you hit him with a quick card. So don't do that. Don't do that. It's bad. There's a lot of weird playing around stuff here. Thank God, free quests are much simpler. They're all monoclass, like we're used to. The normal ones top out at 150k HP. I think it's not Lancers. That's the leader one. Your weird nodes. You've got a 1, 2, 3 node with Lancers. The final boss of that is only 180k HP, so with damage buffs and stuff, you should be able to figure out a comp for that. There's a lot of sabers available in this. And the super mega hard node is a fucking 1-2 node. There's not even a third wave. You know why there's no third wave? Because the boss of wave 2 is a 1 million HP BB. Yeah, no, it's for reals. She got 1,000,001 HP.
What is BB doing here?
I think she's literally called something hold on, let me look it up. It's Chief Mischievous BB Chan. So I don't know, man. She's here to fuck shit up.
Yes, BB woke up in the morning and chose chaos.
Yeah. There's also like the first boss is called the Cha Bandit, Bandit's Director, and there's an Ocha Nobu. There's literally Nobu knobs that are Nobu mobs, which are just sitting in teacups.
Excellent.
So, by the way, I don't know how many of them will translate, but there's a lot of fucking T puns in the names of enemies in this.
I hope the team does their due diligence.
Yeah. Sorry, the Lancer node I mentioned, that 1, 2, 3 node, the last one is Wicked Bailiff Ochatoria, which is Lancer Altar. So yeah, no, it's so out there. Instead of Orochi, they're Orochas. Oh, the last one is, the last normal one that's 333 is Casters, and your boss of that is Tamamo. Her subtitle is, "The venue turned into a matcha bath?" ! So, I think Tamamo's just had to have a normal vacation and just being attacked by green tea.
I want to make a joke here about this is the most screen time we've seen from her in a long time, but I feel that's kicking a dead horse here.
It's true, unfortunately. Well, you'll get we're working on an extra record again, 2025.
It'll be here.
We get some whole ass Tamamo gaming.
Yeah, someone actually post some of the expressions that Tamamo was. I'm like, yes, this ear movement, it gives me life. It's exactly what I needed.
The from what I've seen, the animation team is working, and I think they had Wadarko like redo everybody's character designs, like extra Rin looks a little different and stuff like that. So everybody's looking nice and pretty now that they're no longer being scronkled down into the PSP. You gotta squish those pixels to fit in there. But yeah, free quest is pretty normal. Now, you're farming. Obviously, you're farming for tea, but what are we farming for? Your normal drop currency will get you 4 copies of the TCE, the CE that improves your tea drops. It's multicolor as well. You can get EO coins and her costume. Also, the 4th NP copy is in the shop. There's 2 crystallized lures in the shop, and also your normal EXPs, foes, etc. And mats such as Bones, Hero Proofs, again, Silver Crowns, Big Bells, Dragon Fangs, Gears, Magatamas, Oil Lamps, Ashes, the new Trom mat, more Beast Grease, Phoenix Feathers, and Scarabs. Also, sorry, a little burpee. Saber Lancer Berserker statues. Now, your points ladder, on the other hand, is going to have loads of apples. It's going to have more mana prisms. It's going to have some QP. It's going to have way more of those EXP CEs. It's also going to have all 3 of the command codes. This has all 4 of EO's Ascension mats. The last copy of the CE, thank you once again. Unless I'm missing it in the formatting again, 1 singular summon ticket. It also ends with 1 lore and has mats like Small Bells, Spirit Roots, and God Balls, that is Divine Spiritrons. So a decent spread of mats and a decent, array of awards. There's with the challenge quest as well, which is in there, there's I think 4 or 5 crystallized lures you can get from this, 2 grails, loads and loads of EXPs for both servants and CEs, apples, all the shebang. Should be looking at plenty of QP, all that stuff. Should be a good time. Now, your event bonuses for the event. Io, Sen, and Keisuke get plus 100% damage and 50% bond, as you would expect. They're all the news. And you do actually get a temporary Io, so you can take a little bit of advantage of that. Your top tier event servants are going to be Okita, Saito, Chacha, Mori Nagiyoshi, Himiko, Mao Nobu, and Okitan, who all get 50% damage up and 20% bond. Everybody else who's Guda Guda related, which includes Medusa and MHX in this particular combo, gets 30% damage up and also 20% bond. If you want me to be specific, the full list there... we're going to leave it an hour and a half. The full list there is the 2 swimsuit Okitas, that's all turn normal, regular Oda, Nobunaga, Nobukatsu, both Ryomas, Kagetora, Okuni, Li Shuen, just the assassin version though, Izo, Hijikata, Summer Nobu, and Mysterious Ranmover X. Mash also gets 30% damage up, but obviously she does that thing where she gives the whole team 5% bond up. You're also looking at rank ups for Okitan and Mori Nagiyoshi. Okitan will get her 3 turns of extra damage versus Heaven Attribute enemies. And what is exactly... Mori Nagiyoshi's buff stops being 3 times 3 turns. It's now just 3 turns he gets an on-attack buff to increase his own attack, but reduce his own defense. Which I think is fair, because it has a demerit on it. So your... Okita's ponytail costume, I believe, her Hayori plus ponytail will be in the shop as well. Now your summon banners. Your first summon banner should be Sen no Rikyu, 5-star Berserker, and Keisuke Yamanami, 4-star Saber, with Mori Nagiyoshi back, as I mentioned earlier. Your follow-up banners should be, these are all running for like 3 or 4 days and are not necessarily in the proper order because I did this by looking at the multi-week long summon chart, but expect rate-ups for a Wombo combo of Maonobu Summer Nobu Mori, Okita Jet Okita Mori Nagiyoshi, Hijikata Saito Mori Nagiyoshi, Okuni Mori Nagiyoshi, Himiko Mori Nagiyoshi, and Lancer Ryoma Mori Nagiyoshi. Again, not in that order. And now sit down and drink your goddamn tea. AKA, that's the pregame. That's what we got. Honestly, seems pretty straightforward. You're looking at the actual, I realized I didn't write it down earlier, but the total, point value you're looking for is not that crazy. Sorry, I closed my tab already.
Oh.
Let me go back, because I was going to look at what the end is. But the last of the point rewards is at 2 million. 2 million is your cap. Now, this does mean you're going to have to brew a lot of tea, but like I said, you do unlock your best tea recipes after you clear the extra quests as well. Let's see if I can type. Yeah, that's 2 million. 6 zeros. So, hypothetically, you need to make 222.2 repeating cups of the 9k tea to get out of here. But much like lotto currency, that should, snowball pretty good. You get, the CE gives you, MLB +2 of each of the 3 colors of tea. So, you'll get there. Get them tea farming.
Tea.
Which also, of course, turns into the funny. Oh, actually, I looked at the command codes. Usually I skim over these a little, but the 3-star one, which is also Ochanobu, is very interesting. It actually specifically calls out, you have to put it on a quick card, but when you use it, you remove a dot debuff and increase your max HP by 100 for 1 turn, which is funny.
Oh, neat.
So kind of like dot protection. Also, this is one of those events where if you're trying to build very specific meme strats, you can. The 5-star command code is Consort of the Sun, so it's Cha-Cha. It gives that card 3 turns of 500 burn damage if you're doing burn strats. Also, you get plus 50% critical. So we've got some funny stuff going on. And like I said, I will be working on the Sen Wanted script over this weekend. That should be out before the event fires. And that means that my speaking engagements must continue.
Yes.
Because we're not going to forget Fan 7 Friday.
Not again.
Yeah, no. And I'm sorry about being bad about it. I know we were in the hole on 1 month already, and that was my bad. And it just kept being the thing where, we would talk for, an extra hour about what's up stuff, and then I would literally remember at the last minute as I'm doing the outro, and I'm like, I'm not going to bring it up. We're already, planning to go play Civ or something. But I wrote it into my show notes this week to make sure we get it out there ahead of it. I have been running the polls correctly, at least, on Patreon, but you get your content. So, the first one that was voted, so technically in July, which was delayed a little anyway, I think, the winner was Archer and Oakley. I have a few shootery types going on. So, a brief recapus. Annie Oakley, born Phoebe Ann Mosey, so, change your name to be cooler, was born in 1860, died 1926, so, age 66. And definitely, I think, in our decent strike zone for servants, especially because one of the things that she's famous for is, literally, some of her shooting acts, and she is a sharpshooter and trick shooter, were filmed by Edison on the kinetoscope. So she was a contemporary with Thomas Edison. So if Thomas Edison can be a servant, so can Annie Oakley. I think that's how the rules work.
Well, clearly that means she has to be the embodiment of the Wild West spirit.
Well, she did work in, the classic Buffalo Bill Wild West show.
I remember, I think she did a lot of shit.
Yeah, she did a lot of stuff. Also, there is a 1946 Broadway musical about her, Annie Get Your Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was a fictitious version of her life. Original Broadway cast, she was played by Ethel Merman. Nice. But that has songs that you've probably heard of before, like Anything You Can Do, and There's No Business Like Show Business.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know
There's No
that.
Business Like Show Business comes from Act 1 of the original production, which also has a reprise. So, yeah, no, it's another, very long-standing classical piece. But, yeah, so Annie Oakley was like I said, a sharpshooter. I worked some of this backstory stuff into her like skills as a servant as well, but she got started with her career very young. So as early as like age 6 or 7, she was basically put into child slavery. Her mother was very ill. Her father died. She worked for a family that she only referred to the people who took her in as the Wolves. She never ever, even in her own autobiography, said the people who took her in's real name.
Wow.
But she eventually ran away from them, and as early as age 7, she was hunting, trapping, and shooting her own game. So that's where her skills come from. Of like, she literally had to do that shit to survive. But she did actually, manage to pay off her mother's mortgage that way. There's a couple of debate on her exact spelling of her, original surname, but the name Oakley came later. And obviously she's, like I said, very famous, so we're, compressing a lot of stuff. But she did meet a guy, Frank Butler, who's in the musical, who, by the way, just to let you know what shit is like in the 1800s, on Thanksgiving Day, 1875, Frank Butler was a traveling showman. He placed a $100 bet, which, by the way, in 2023 dollars is equivalent to almost $3,000, that he could beat any local shooter in Cincinnati, and was defeated by a 15-year-old girl. It is, to our modern sensibilities, a little icky that they do ended up married, but I don't know how old he was in 1875.
As long as they had a happy marriage, but I kind of feel like they probably didn't.
I think they did stick together the whole time. I have to double check if there's anything further. But this is where she got involved in like higher level showmanship. By 1885, she joined Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. When they performed together, she took the stage name Annie Oakley. That's where it came from. The performer known as Sitting Bull, who was an actual Indian, named her Botanya Cecilia, which was translated as Little Sure Shot for public advertisements. Also, hey, I want to talk about, child labor in the late 1800s. Apparently, Oakley was rivals with a fellow sharpshooter named Lillian Smith, who was 11 in the Buffalo Bill show.
Wow.
But yeah, no. That said, in addition to being a showwoman, and, doing a lot of work in the entertainment, like I said, literally she was filmed on an ancient Edison kinetoscope. You can find this archival footage, today of her doing her trick shooting and stuff. And she was unfortunately in a railroad accident that caused her serious injury that limited her mobility later in life, in like 1901, I think. But she was also a big advocate of, women's rights at the time. During the Spanish-American War, she offered to the president to recruit a company of, I think it was 50 lady sharpshooters. And over time, she spent a lot of time, trying to push for, women to learn self-defense, learn how to handle guns, presses for women to be independent and educated, and claims at some points during her time to have, trained over 15,000 women how to shoot as a form of, self-defense. So, great historical personage, excellent showman, and like I said, contemporary with a lot of servants we've already had. So, class Archer, because we don't really do the gunner thing. Alignment, true neutral. Stats, a pretty median. Strength D, endurance D, but agility A+, fastest little sure shot in the West, magic E, luck B, NPC. That's NP space C. Class skills, independent action B. Archers usually get independent action, and, she seems like an independent lady. Magic resistance D. She's not really supernatural. She's just, got a gun. Riding B, because she also did horseback trick shooting. Marksmanship, a skill you've seen on several archers. EX, shooting techniques, draws, trick shooting, general ability used, hits, use small arms. Sitting Bull said that she was supernaturally skilled with shooting. She was a rifle shot using a lever action. So a little different from the pistoliers you may know. But one of her favorite trick shot tricks was she would fire her rifle backwards over her shoulder using a mirror. And this worked for her. So yes, no, she was good with the rifle. skill Raised by Wolves B. This talks about, like I said, she started developing her skills, as a young age, had to help her own family, her mother and younger siblings, as a marksman, trapper, and hunter. So basically giving her survival skills in hunting similar to characters like William Tell, avoid negative modifiers from terrain and track targets. Probably in FGO some kind of further, debuff removal or debuff protection. Maybe even, negate certain buffs from enemies. Surefire Charisma C. I call the Surefire Charisma because it's a mod, because, obviously she was a talented stage performer. She was an advocate for women everywhere, was ready to lead a unit of lady sharpshooters, but also, performed feats of marksmanship before some of those powerful people in the world. I think Buffalo Bill's show toured to, Germany, Russia, all over Europe, and obviously all over in America. So, probably a normal charisma effect of, the team-wide, but similar to Liz's charisma, extra juice for females, because, has a lot of history of women's rights and leadership.
Yep.
It did say, though, that, her fitness ability is limited. Weak Constitution B, similar to Okita, chance to reduce her strength and endurance, but not her agility. Noble Phantasm, talking about that famous show. Annie, get your gun. And as you often see with these types of servants, it's not a specific weapon used by Annie Oakley, but rather Annie Oakley's style of shooting. She was known for rifle shooting. She would strike targets that were very small, playing cards, candle flames, dimes, and shooting cigars out of her husband's mouth.
That's a trust exercise right there.
Yeah. She could fire with either hand. She was ambidextrous with her trigger hand. She could fire on horseback. She could fire with a mirror. She also had great endurance. Some of her shows, she would shoot over 100 clay targets in a single sitting. So basically, when using it, calling its true name, she converts her magical energy into bullets for her weapon and fires continuous, pinpoint accurate shots until she runs out of magical enemy or the enemy is defeated. No matter the size or nature of the target, she can strike it, though obviously defensive abilities may nullify the physical shot. If an enemy were to appear to match her own marksmanship, her competitive nature would allow her to rise even further beyond her original parameters, because anything you can do, I can do better. So basically probably I would assume a quick NP that's single target, but would be activate sure hit first and have a fuck ton of hits. Probably generate either critical stars automatically or, up her crit damage for the turn as well, kind of a thing. And there's a lot of, art-wise styles you could do. There are, many classic depictions of her. Here's actually a good old poster from Buffalo Bill's Wild West, Congress Rough Riders of the World. Miss Annie Oakley, the peerless Lady Wingshot. It's her just covered in fucking medals. And yes, I do believe it looks like they're shooting, hand-thrown clay pigeons in the backdrop of this.
Probably didn't have launches back at the time.
No. And actually, I double-checked this, but during that international show, because I said that she did shows before lots of people over the world, during the Europe tour, she performed before Queen Victoria, the King of Italy, the President of France, and supposedly shot the ashes off the cigarette held by the newly crowned Kaiser William II.
Wow.
So yeah, no, she knew a lot of famous people, got around. Very classically styled of the arts, with well known for her work. And yeah, I think you'd get just some normal cowgirl type stuff. Probably have at least one ascension that's much like that poster, which is just her in a pretty normal period dress and stout shoes, just covered in medals, blinged up. And here's, by the way, a picture of her relatively soon before she died. This is 1922. She's still killing it. Also, I think she'd fit right in with the other servants because she was 5 foot flat and still able to shoot better than anybody. And so, second selection is we're grabbing another actual historical person. And I mentioned earlier that I think doing a double feature would actually work out. So, the second winner for this month's poll was finally writer Jacques Cousteau, the famous French naval officer and oceanographer, who co-invented scuba.
Scuba!
Yeah, he invented the first, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, the aqualung. But last month, he was the runner-up, so it seemed kind of natural that the patrons voted him up front next anyway, and we'll do the follow-up immediately. Jacques Cousteau is an interesting man, like I said. He is another real-life person. So, he's an interesting case because he had a very long life. He was born in 1910, but did not die until 1997. He lived 87 years. But he did do a lot of his stuff during the kind of like, a pre-World War II period. And the Aqualung work he did was in, the early 1940s. So his peak is a little late for where Fate likes to go, but also rules exist to be broken. And, a famous oceanographer, ocean photographer, literally helped invent the idea of underwater documentation. Like to call himself an oceanographic technician. Did a lot of work to actually, get stuff going on. Like I said, helped invent scuba. It's very interesting. I did pick Ryder for this because he is, was a Navy diver and a naval officer, so it kind of made sense. But spoiler for stuff we're going to talk about later with the Aqualung and things. I am imagining that as a servant design, we'd be going for more of a Big Daddy from BioShock type thing. I don't think you can summon him on his own without also sticking him with the ideal of the diver, the Aqualung. So give him a cool diving suit that's just part of the vibe would be nice. And we can, if fucking I forget which Yori he is, but Mecha Man can be a giant robot. If we can have ancient Japanese giant robots, we can stick Jacques Cousteau in a robot diver suit. That's fine.
I mean, we also got people like freaking Babbage who are
yeah,
and whatnot. So yeah, no, be fine. Fine.
It works to enhance the the fantasy of the setting. Charles Babbage is a cool historical character, but he can't have a fucking anime magic slap fight unless he's also a giant robot because he was just a guy. So we can do the same for Jacques Cousteau. Cousteau also was a big advocate for ocean exploration and preservation. I believe he said, I think this is actually an attributed quote, but he said, very famously translated the phrase that when it comes to the ocean, we are all in the same boat.
That's a pretty good line.
Yeah, very, very, very straightforward. So Jacques Cousteau, technically Jacques-Yves Cousteau, writer, lawful neutral, seems pretty normal. You may be slightly confused by his stats for a writer, but don't worry, chat. He's got, I was inspired by Babbage for this. He's got strength B++, endurance B++, agility D++, magic D, luck C, NP B. Being a writer, he has fairly average C rank writing and magic resistance. Now, you may be slightly surprised by his first personal skill, but I took this from our esteemed writer of manga, the bunny writer there, Director Techniques B, because this is actually something that the mysterious Learning with Manga writer is supposed to have. The ability to direct the real world. So, basically, in Learning with Manga, this is supposed to be a joke because they're a famous, early movie producer, rivals with Thomas Edison, speaking of that. But basically the skill that causes distraction or fascination by prompting dramatic or awesome moments to appear. Specifically as a documentarian, Cousteau can cause people to be distracted by simple narration of the state of events. Prompt others into exploration and discovery. Basically by acting, like he's directing a movie and narrating stuff just kind of happens, and this can confuse or distract people. Because he's just inspiring new news. And I think you can get multiple levels of different looks to the Ascension there. Somebody in our patron Discord chat asking about it. I think there's multiples. I think the classic Belldiver suit, but it would be exaggerated anyway because hopefully most of you know what a scuba set looks like. So his actual Aqualung device was pretty normal looking.
Yeah, it might have been pretty normal looking, but we're in FGO. What's gonna spice that shit up?
Well, yeah. I was responding earlier. Axe said, could we get sci-fi a little? I'm like, yeah, no, we'd exaggerate because Aqualung as the first scuba system is pretty normal looking.
Honestly, I think I'd like to. Speaking of sci-fi, if we were to add it, I think I want to give it basically that OG Dead Space spin, just with an actual diver's helmet. Metal plates
and I think you can get some simple diver's dress. At least one Ascension should be a bigger, bulkier suit. Maybe you see a lot of almost one-man spaceship type hard suits with big bubble canopy. But you don't have to do them all like that. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like at least one drill arm attack is necessary, if only because, yes, I played Bioshock 1. We all did. We loved it. It was cool then. But yeah, so directorial techniques, to recap, because we got in the weeds a little there, just, like, can distract or, cause stuff to happen because he narrates something fascinating going on, and people are like, oh, huh? So probably, like, a debuff for enemies, maybe a team-wide buff of something interesting, like Crit Up or Star Gen Up. So the reason for those pluses to strength and endurance and stuff, mechanized armor, A+, same skill that Babbage has.
Yeah.
He's covered in a metal diving suit as a result of his noble phantasm. His strength and endurance are enhanced, and he can temporarily enhance them further, but it limits his agility. Because it is a protective suit, it also improves his magic resistance beyond what he would normally have, so that's why he's C there. He can take it off, but he wouldn't, because he loves the ocean. Also, Voyager of the Storm C, the ability to sail ships. He was, like I said, a French naval officer, so charisma and military tactics, but we don't have to use that skill because he has 2 noble phantasms. Riders are supposed to have multiple noble phantasms. The first one is the one I referenced with mechanical armor. It's Aqualung, Down in the Sunless Sea, C++, which is the name of that subtitle, Down in the Sunless Sea, is the name of one of his films or books, I think. It's a C++ anti-personnel self. So this is named after the diving system that was co-developed by Cousteau. It is the first self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, the first scuba, to be known to the public. So basically, as a result, this noble phantasm, slurries together all of the humans' desire to explore the ocean. As much as I do not like the ocean, I don't actually have, proper thalassophobia. I can stare at a continental shelf drop and just be like, man, that looks like it sucks. Some people, when they see the yawning depth of the oceans below, just are like, I want to puke, I have to go away.
Yeah, no, I don't like the ocean. I've been on the ocean plenty. I think the ocean is cool and neat, and there's a bunch of wonderful things under there that I want to see, just, with proper safety gear and a lot of backups and redundancies.
Yeah, I keep moving, more and more inland in Florida, but I've wanted to learn to scuba before, because it seems neat. I would not actually mind, being into ocean and with some air. I've snorkeled before, and done a little bit of exploring of, shallow water, so, that's cool. But, I want to watch out there. But humans do have that mystery because it's just I think outer space. Some people are deeply terrified by outer space. I'm like, man, space is neat. I think we are driven to explore because we see it and our brains and bodies are like, you can't go there. And that makes humans go, fuck you, I can't go there.
Yeah, I was about to say, no, that's human nature right there. You can't. Oh, the fuck we can.
Yeah, you're like, you see that tall mountain that's spiky and full of death? You're not supposed to go there. You can't do it. And then, fucking Himalaya free climbers are just, cracking knuckles as they start, getting their tents and their fucking pitons out, and they're like, oh, who says I can't? Who made the law? That's there's nowhere out that we can't, we won't try and poke. So, yeah, the Aqualung kind of combines all that. So it means that it's despite the fact that it was, technically designed in, the 30s and 40s, it has all the same abilities you would expect, as good as modern diving gear. He can dive and rise rapidly. He doesn't have any agility penalties in water. He is immune to crushing depths. He also, comes with support hoses, so he can supply air to his master or other allies, though not necessarily all of his protection. But, good to give you wide coverage in an event of stuff going on there. His diving suit emits a magical light which reveals the secrets of the water, so it's got big floodlights, removes darkness and sensory interference. And because of collective unconsciousness, he can also add, cool underwater abilities like sea mines, drills, sonar, and torpedoes. So, FGO could give him a wide variety of attack animations. Drill arm attack, firing torpedoes, drop a sea mine on somebody.
I just want a diving bell to just come swinging out of nowhere and clock somebody.
That'd be a great one too. Diving bells are pretty hefty.
Yeah.
So yeah, this would probably be a skill he has that gives him some effects. Gives him further boosts while in waterside, but that would not be all of it. And I think we can get away with giving his skills in waterside because of his second one, Le Monde du Silence, the Silent World. This is definitely the name of one of his early underwater films. This is a B+ anti-world noble phantasm. The name of his first and most famous book and film, A Journey of Discovery of the Ocean, It is his way of life as a oceanographer and documentarian, sublimated into a noble phantasm. I decided not to be a coward. I just said straight up, this is the high thaumaturgy. It's a reality marble. He's the ocean
Nice.
man. He's going to make the ocean. So basically, when he activates this, he creates a temporary recreation of the ocean in his immediate vicinity. It can replicate any sea effects on Earth because of his breadth of knowledge. Can include all natural features, reefs. He can even summon, shipwrecks if he wants to. And if it's at the bottom of the ocean, he can replicate it. Enemies will have their mobility strongly limited by being underwater. And,
Pressure, baby.
Because servants use stuff like eating and breathing to supplement their magical energy generation, that would possibly cause them drowning issues. God help you if you have an enemy master involved in this bubble, though obviously he has to do that hose trick I mentioned to supply his own master if they're close too. But also because he loved to document fish and can work this, he can summon aquatic creatures as well, any kind of normal fish, but also even phantasmal species. Remember those fucking evil-ass ice fish? They can be in that reality marble. I don't care, man. Fish.
Fresh fish. We catch 'em, we buy 'em.
I do know that these animals are not necessarily under his control per se, but he can direct dramatic events with his personal skills. So, gotta watch out for that. So this would probably be AoE attack, probably my first instinct is to say arts because blue. Do some damage to the whole crew through some phantasmal waters. But also, set up, turn the field to water side for 3 turns, stick some extra debuffs on enemies, that kind of thing. And just these are the kind of effects that I wish we got more NPs about, because I bet the FGO animation team would go wild with this kind of thing. Just give them some reference photos of some famous underwater pictures. Also, knowing them, they would literally look up, the Silent World, Le Monde de Silence, and, actually,
Endgame,
grab some stills.
I would love this to do a field change, actually, for the duration.
Ooh, Arc, just change the
Yeah.
background to an underwater one? Yeah, we got a
Yeah.
cool thing. We could get some of those.
I think that'd be really rad. Honestly, listen, I'm a big sucker for when we do field changes. Not just, add the battlefield type, but we actually change the background. Every time
Yeah,
that
no,
happens, I'm
it's
so rad.
I mean, that's just really cool. Yeah. And like I said, I know this is a little, loosey-goosey, and some purists may be like, you gave a ocean documentarian from the year 1910 a reality marble, and I'm like, yeah, he's the ocean documentarian. This guy co-invented scuba, guys. Do you know how important that is for science and exploration? I know it doesn't affect your daily life, but it's cool. God, I love science. Exploration is sick. Obviously, Annie Oakley is much more in the folk hero type, and she is a, lasting inspiration to us all, and beautifully talented show woman, and also, like I said, just, he was very surprised when I mentioned that, there's no business like show business. Yeah, that's from Annie, get your gun. So, part of a long-standing pop culture, but, Actually, I think Jacques Cousteau would probably think of the
Nemo as...
Yeah.
No, it'd probably be Fame Moment over Nemo, honestly.
Yeah, he would go the other way, because I don't actually. I'll double check if he ever said 20,000 was an inspiration to him. But Jacques Cousteau is French. He was born after Jules Verne, so I would assume. Yeah, there's no mention of it anywhere on Wikipedia, and I'm not. We're in the middle of a show, so I can't go on a deep research dive. But I would think it would be pretty crazy if the French oceanographer hadn't ever read 20,000 Leagues.
Be a little weird.
Yeah. Also, hey, speaking of, classic inspirations and stuff, 20,000 Leagues, great book. Love that one. That would also probably be a source of, more cool tech shit he could bolt on. Because I think Nemo does have some animations where he fires a gun. I don't know if they actually remembered to, give him the, electric bullets he has in the book. Also, yes, by the way, electricity was the brand new hip thing when Verne wrote 20,000 Leagues. In the book, the Nautilus is completely electric. And also, Nemo's underwater hunters have a trick where they fire they call it a bullet, so I think it's technically a rifle at the time period, but they have guns which fire glass bullets that contain some kind of storage medium in them. So they pump their air rifles full of electricity that is discharged when the bullet strikes a fish, safely deleting the fish or the man and not causing any further problems. Because It's very funny that I don't think that that our version of Nemo is quite like that, though some of his personalities are. But the actual Captain Nemo is a fucking dramatic little bitch. Like, he's a theater kid through and through.
Oh, I was gonna say, there was a term I was gonna say, but I couldn't think of it. But actual Nemo's kind of an ass.
Yeah, I mean, he's arguably the villain of the book. The whole plot arc of the book is that kindly ocean professor Aronnax is, like, basically kidnapped by a weird submarine pirate who's just also, like, super well educated and has all this cool secret technology he can't share with the surface world because men would misuse it. And then, like, his ultimate conclusion eventually is, like, after spending, months and months and maybe over a year with this guy, is like, oh, right, this guy's crazy. He is literally out here just, like, running over ships and orcas and stuff because he feels like he's the fucking god of the ocean, and he, sits in his cool study and plays a fucking underwater pipe organ. Like, Nemo's a weirdo. Our Nemo is, like, also a weirdo, but in different ways. But he admits that he's different because, one, Captain Nemo is, fictional. But also he's, like, been adjusted by being summoned by Sion and having Triton mixed in with him.
For the better, in my opinion.
Yes. In the sequel, he is kind of a mentor figure, but also, I think in the Journey to a Mysterious Island, Captain Nemo is, like, literally on his deathbed. He's, like, 80-something years old now, and he's, like, helpful to the people who get stranded there. But also, he mellowed out a shitload after his submersible was sucked into a whirlpool and he almost died. Or however exactly that ended. By the way, I do want to say, 20,000 Leagues, great book. The ending is such a cop-out. Like, Nemo is in his, like, weird, brooding, pipe organ playing mood, and so the Professor, Kunsui, and Ned Land escape on a launch boat while Nemo is distracted in the middle of, like, maelstroms off Norway, and Aronnax just, like, passes out from terror, so nobody actually knows how they get away from the maelstrom. None of his friends will tell him after. He just wakes up in, like, a Nordic fishing village, and he's like, thank God, we are safe. I must now write a really long paper about this.
How did we get here?
Ned Land probably says, wasn't easy. Ned Land's a great character. He's a Canadian whaler, and he's just, like, a buff, manly man who's stuck in with Captain Nemo. Like I said, the novel's great. You should, if you have not read it or haven't read it recently, totally go check it out. But yeah, no. I think Cousteau as a servant would love Nemo because, like, Nemo has all the cool shit he wanted, but also they could talk about ocean stuff. I do also think as a servant, like, Captain Nemo sometimes feels bad about some of the stuff he did. Like, that was a whole plot point in LB4 that he felt the need to, like, apologize to Lakshmi Bai because he was like, hey, yeah, I feel bad because technically I kind of fucked off in the middle of that rebellion. I got in a boat. I killed my wife and kid. I built a submarine.
Just noped on out.
And that stuff is also ambiguous in the novel. That didn't come out until Mysterious Island later, when he straight up admitted, yeah, I'm an Indian prince, and in the rebellion against the British, my wife and child died, so I decided to build a super submersible with a battering ram on the end and just, become Ocean Man.
Ocean Man.
Also, yes, at least in the comic, well, not everybody's characterization in the comics, but most characters in LXG are actually a lot closer to their book portrayals. Like, the version I think you see in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for Captain Nemo is kind of more appropriate. He's kind of a weird, kind of sad, but very proud guy. I do think it was cool when, in the movie, one of those random guys was like, draw your pistol, and he was like, no, Shamshir. I think the Invisible Man, at least, they quote unquote justified. Not that, like, Alan Moore's got his own things going on, man. He's got some stuff that's gonna happen, but his excuse at least was the Invisible Man in the comic was a secondary guy who acquired the becoming invisible formula, because I'm pretty sure the classic Invisible Man ends with that guy dying.
Yes.
I don't remember Invisible Man very well. Is he going, like, crazy from isolation?
I think he was just kind of a mad scientist and paranoia. I did read The Invisible Man. Basically, it's just a dude who basically, goes to an end all bandaged up, tells to be left alone, and, people start getting curious about him, and they start finding out shit.
Yeah, H.G. Wells' Invisible Man. refers to himself just as Griffin.
But yeah, no, the OG Invisible Man is not a good person.
No. That's one thing I will say that at least, like, Wells also has very, very classic science fiction, which are full of characters who are fucked up. Please remember that H.G. Wells also wrote The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Which one's this Dr. Moreau?
That's
think I've ever read that one.
the mad science doctor who combines animals, including human-like animal hybrids, via vivisection.
Oh. Ugh.
Yeah, no, it's a little weird.
This is not how I want Monster Girls.
No, I don't think the time machine was just like
weird.
He was just thinking thoughts, man.
Yes, he had thoughts and he wanted to get them out. The
Time
Machine, I would say, is good. It's also weird.
The H.G. Wells' classic The Time Machine, like, on the one hand, invents a lot of very classic time travel tropes. Like, I think he straight up invented the concept of the time machine. Like, there was fuckery with time in previous works, but they were not well established. In case you guys don't know, by the way, Mark Twain basically wrote a fucking isekai novel, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court.
Yeah.
That was magic, though. That was all Merlin magic. The Time Machine, I think, is like one of the first times we actually had a device with which to traverse time. And,
that was some good early science fiction.
And so, like, honestly, all of what it does is, like, it's all pure speculative fiction. He's just like, what would happen if you could just, go into the future? What's the future like? And just imagining, literal, well, you're going to have your crystal spires and toga people, and then you're going to have your underclass are going to live in the fucking sewers. And it was just all weird stuff. But, no, it was very interesting. Also, by the way, I want to say this, not only did Mark Twain, like, do isekai already, he also speedrun all the tropes you'd expect. A Connecticut Yankee ends with, like, King Arthur deposed, and, like, the Yankee invents, like, machine guns in Arthurian Britain. And eventually Merlin just bonks him on the head and throws him back in the cave. I'm pretty sure Mark Twain was taking the piss out of some people with that one.
Oh, I totally. I think if I remember, I think it was kind of not necessarily written as a satire, but as kind of a fucking poke at some more traditional literature. But I can't remember what. I'd have to do some research.
Yes, he wrote it as literally called it a burlesque. Like, he did it as kind of a caricature of, like, classic chivalry stories.
Yeah, that's what it was. I couldn't remember. I was just like, what was it?
Yeah, he was doing a little pastiche. But also apparently he wrote it as like when he was in a dream. It's actually, like, very introspective because he's pro, like, whatchamacallit, like, pro that idea of turn of the century progressivism. It was published in 1889, for instance, and, like, kind of like the growing industrial phase, but also, like, manages to ask you questions about, like, capitalism and the Industrial Revolution and its consequences, again, in 1889, while still making fun of, like, feudalism and chivalry and stuff. It's an interesting read. And like I said, it's got concepts that are so, like, classically ingrained. And like I said, I do think it's funny, the plot device ends with Merlin just being like, which I believe the Yankee has, like, said is, he's not real, his magic's fake. Merlin shows up at the end and, like, hey, guess what? Magic is real, dumbass. Sleep!
Blam! Which I think is great, personally. It might seem like a little bit of a cop-out, but also, what's the term I want to use? Just desserts, kind of?
Yeah, it's this guy has been causing chaos, fucking shit up with his time travel, and Merlin's just like, alright, enough of you. Fire 4. Basically, obviously, while we have, modern classics of our time, Mahoyo, Tsukihime, and Fate Stay Night now all available. Hopefully we'll get that Tsukihime Steam ported out soon. I do believe that Nasu said that they would be interested in putting it on Steam eventually. It's just they, with Tsukihime Remake very specifically, he was concerned about piracy. So they want to let it, like, breathe a little on consoles where it's harder to pirate for a little bit. But yeah, you can read all those now, but, like, there's a lot of classical stuff in there. Literally, Mark Twain was quoting from Le Morte d'Arthur, which is old as balls.
Balls.
It's from, like, 1485. But yeah, literature, it's cool. But that was our 2 Fanservant Friday runs. I don't know what I'm going to put on the poll next. We'll see what's up. But I've still got a few things in my backlog to slice through. Let's see, where are we at recording-wise? Just a little over 2 hours. So, a little shorter than some shows, but it's been mostly FGO stuff. I don't really have anything tagged onto what's up in the backlog. Like we've mentioned before, been playing a lot of Civ, still trying to perfect our Civ game. Definitely one of the number one things I'm looking for and hoping with Civ 7 is either fixes to some of the placement RNG or the ability to tweak, because I feel like that's the thing that's really been fucking us over as we replay this game.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no,
I mean, if you want to tell the story, go for it.
Yeah, no, we played like 2 days ago? It was just me, Omega, and Loth, because Aaron had to work, unfortunately. But we started up a new game, and I was gonna alright, I love being Japan, but I'm gonna try something different. Let's see here. Peter of Russia looks like he has some pretty good faith shit, and I know of some stuff that can really synergize with that. So I tried that, and it started me in the middle of the fucking rainforest, and I had to spend 15 turns getting down to the snow. And by the time I did, another civilization had already taken the Pantheon. Excuse me, I had to take it for a second.
Yeah.
That I wanted, and so I was like, oh my god, I'm so... My start was so slow rolled. I wasn't getting my ass kicked, but I was behind in almost every aspect. I'm just son of a bitch.
Yeah.
We also had a problem where I think we got some of the S tier civs apparently in our game, and they were just speed running science. I think we're in what comes out. The medieval age was ending in 550 AD.
Yeah, which is about when the medieval period started in real life.
Yeah, it was just we're just wait a minute.
We were speed running, and it was a weird thing where I actually did get lucky in that because I picked Canada because you said you were aiming for a colder map the first time, so I was like, oh, we'll do that shit. I get tundra bonuses from that. Canada's other big thing is rivers. So I spawned right next to a river in a rainforest, and so that gave me a leg up. Even with me being honestly, overall production level pretty good. I think I had over half a dozen cities by the time we wrapped it. I was still roughly Gesundheit.
Oh, excuse me.
I was either roughly at par or a little behind. Everybody on team 3, which by the way, that meant there was a whole other team of civs. We did three teams of 3 with 6 total AIs. So we didn't meet one AI team at all. But the entire other team 3 were about at my level or worse, and they were cooking. And also, once again, we got some of the shittiest barbarian spawns ever. We're talking barbarian camps spawning literally the minimum of 4 or 5 tiles away from some of our cities multiple times. It felt like every 10 turns or so in game, we would clean out one barbarian encampment, and then literally I'd see a notification and be I would have to go and be oh, hey, Loth, there's some guys right next to you. Or, oh, some guys stunned by my lucky. Or my own opinion of oh, shit, now they're near me. Which, hey, I was playing Canada. That is not a very military turbo civ. Canada's culture and I think I managed to, with all my rivers and rainforests and shit, swing a pretty good money curve. But damn, no. So that's something I'm hoping out of Civ 7 is less randomness. I think the main thing was just I don't know what was up with our map size, but we were getting spawn camped. And also it's funny too because we were triangle equidistant. Loth spawned a little bit closer. You probably still would have had to take a couple turns to move, but he spawned closer to Tundra, and so I don't know why you didn't get put up there and he get put somewhere else. I don't know. The spawning is weird sometimes.
Yeah.
So we will continue to wiggle around and figure out Civ stuff. I think.
Trust me, it is the plane of infinite barbarians.
Yes. No, that is. I first stole the elemental plane of cops joke from somebody else, but they were talking about Payday, and everybody who plays Payday agrees. It really is like that.
I want to. Believe it or not, I want to say that I've made that joke before it was a joke because I used to play Payday 2 a fucking lot before we got into big, YouTube.
I mean, I feel it's a very obscure joke that I think I first heard from a tabletop actual play podcast, but it's one of those things that I think anybody who's ever played a version of D&D and played Payday will think of.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
It's what it feels like. You're just when the little yellow alarm sign goes, you're just holy shit, there's a lot of cops. Where do they keep coming from?
Because I remember I made this joke because back when I was playing Payday 2, back in 2011, 2012, 14, something like that. The early years, we would actually play around with the game files, and we actually figured out how to turn up the object limit so every cop body would stay there. And so we just have, like, the floor covered in bodies, and we're just like, man. And, like, I don't know who said it, but it's all like, man, this is just the Elemental Planet cops now.
Yeah, it's
Can I get Civ? Can I get a mod just to replace all the frickin' the barbarian mobs with just cop models?
I mean, I think there's enough of them in Payday 2. If you shrunk them down, you could make them work. Scouts or cloakers. I think they can spawn with, like, shieldy boys and stuff for, like, juggernauts or shielders. They've got their, like, high mobility guys with horses. But yeah, no, the barbarians were crawling up our asshole, and like I said, the other civs were turboing science, because, like, I still had pretty good science, but I was still only just, like, inventing, like, medieval techs. I think I learned, like, one Renaissance tech once we were already in the 10-turn countdown. So I don't know if, like, the AI civs, like, auto-pick, you know, the most advanced science tech or what, but it was interesting.
No, next time we play, which might be tonight, I don't know, depends on how people are feeling.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what Loth's doing. Actually, I don't know what Aaron's doing either. We could do a 3-man game without Loth. Last I saw, he's relaxing in a big chair.
He got kicked out of the chair, unfortunately.
All right,
yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna probably put some civs on the blacklist. I'll probably get rid of, like, the S tier ones. I'll keep the A tier ones.
Yeah.
Or I might lower their difficulty. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to say, fuck that, we're going down in level.
I mean, the AI are fucking cheaters, so it's fair. They get less cheaty and more stupid the lower down you get. And obviously, you know, you don't want to, like, steamroll, but...
Nah, I'm thinking of just, like, going down from Prince to Warlord. Maybe.
We'll see what people are doing. But yeah, so that's, like, my number one pastime that's not writing Rain. Latest Rain actually got posted today as of this recording, so you can check it out.
Yeah, hope you're ready for a family meeting.
Yeah, it was what it was. Hopefully, ending that on a note of kind of, like, pointing to everybody, we can run through everybody's goals a little faster.
Like, it was a lot of family meeting, but also I think that kind of worked out at the end because it gave you more time to write the actual council meeting and let us actually, you know, get some things out in the open. Although we didn't get everything out in the open.
No.
My desire to be dramatic and dramatic seemed to have backfired a little bit on me.
Everybody got really into role playing, which meant, like, good character stuff, but a little bit less of the, like, factual reporting of information and stuff.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see, like, the play out as well. But yeah, no, it was. I think it was a good session to have, and there's a reason why we had to have it. Like, literally, I think in the end of the previous session, we were saying, like, okay, we probably need a team meeting. It was either at the end of the last session or during the upcoming week of, like, okay, we gotta get together and, like, start talking about shit. Because, you know, this is an actual thing where we're not actually sure of everybody's, like, goals and stuff. But yeah, I got to write ahead the full King Council meeting, which will technically be 2 parts. It has a lunch break in the middle.
Lunch breaks.
I think you only missed, like, one thing in that you didn't mention the King's aside comment about diplomats. Don't worry, that'll come back.
But it came back.
But yeah, so, like, it was good to get there and everybody kind of plan their schedule, and I'm hoping that, like, running through what everybody's doing will be more straightforward, and depending on the people involved and what they want to talk about may take less time than having all the player characters and, like, most of the named NPCs in your inner circle all in one room. I think it was off air that I mentioned this, but I did talk about how at one point I just realized that I had an in-character tangent and had to recenter myself, and then after that I was like, okay, we're going to start putting more asides in the text chat. Because these guys are just yapping in front of NPCs, so that means some of them will have thoughts and feelings about what they say, but also I realize I need to stop vocalizing everything, because they're going to keep asking me for more. We're never going to leave.
We won't stop.
Because that is kind of how it goes, which is, and I appreciate this, it's great to hear, but you guys like interacting with most NPCs and will continue to prompt me, but also, if you, like, I've talked about this before in various other streams, I'm pretty sure I've reached a point with most NPCs that I can improv forever.
Yep.
You guys may not necessarily like everything every NPC has to say, but, you know, working down the line will be interesting. And we've got some plans. And like I said, I've fully fleshed out the council meeting, and then we can probably leave open-ended for anything else you want to do in that day, and then just be ready to move on. Even then, I could probably technically improv the next day, because there's stuff. But, you know, we'll see what we feel about things. That one will probably be a lot of sitting back and listening. And then, like I said, the other thing I do is, like, I play, like, 2 hours of Dave the Dive every night.
It's a very chill game.
Yeah. Like, it's got time constraints and scheduling and stuff, but I'm decently enough. I'm like 4 levels of upgrades on all your shit, so I've like have enough air to do most things. Bum around, get sushi, upgrade sushi, bake more sushi, discover new things. Like I said, I still feel like there are times when like you're speed running plot stuff. Like you'll get a chain of like stuff triggers, and you'll get like 2 phone calls, and then some guy in a diving suit will try and shoot you with a grenade launcher all in the same day. But it, like I said, it helps me relax, and it lets me catch up on some of my video stuff, because that's something else that's like, man, video pro crazy. Like I did note that my wrist was a little stiff. I've actually taken my brace off because my wrist is feeling better. My shoulders still are stiff as hell, but that's how we're doing. If we don't sieve, I'll probably take a hot shower right away. I do gotta, run together this episode edit. But yeah, the game is good, and I think I like it, and I understand why it gets so much like cross appeal and funny crossover stuff, because like it's a very solid formula. We live and die for Bancho in this house. But yeah, let's see. We got 0 coming up on Monday. We're still playing Final Fantasy 14. Still got 1 level 100 dungeon to do. Yeah. And then it'll just be, rerun raids. Shit, I probably need to remember. Sometime over the weekend when I got a time, I gotta run a couple more. Gotta try at least to run a couple more of the raids to get more loot. I'm not super concerned with keeping up my total weekly allowance, but if I don't at least put in some effort, I will fall behind the curve compared to other people in the crew. I did at least have been earning a decent amount of tombstone, so I make sure to buy up a few pieces of jewelry of some of the simpler tombstone gear to get a few more of my classes playable through the raids. So I can, when we're all in a group, I can heal or tank as well, and that'll be good as well, because we'll probably at some point, either immediately on our next stream or in future streams and other days, Wednesday will be our blockout day to try stuff, and we'll get back to progging Savages and Extremes. Someday we'll look at, like, Unreals and Ultimates, other U-words. But yeah, big chillin'. But yeah, I don't have anything else to bring up. Lucky, anything else going on with you?
No, not really.
You're just civving and warframing.
Civving warframing, that's me.
I mean, yeah, we do sometimes comment on current events, but the big event du jour is, I think right now is Brazil is gonna block Twitter, but also maybe not.
I don't know.
Because apparently when it came down to the deadline, Elon Musk and some of his team were like, "Oh shit, maybe we shouldn't. We definitely won't make back our advertiser money if we lose all people in Brazil." So we'll see. I kind of feel like, as funny as it is, that at this stage, Elon Musk is a big guy who falls into the trap of fuck around and find out. He keeps trying to fuck around, and then he finds out. Like the thing with advertisers and stuff like that, and then all of them leaving, and then the I don't think we talked about this on the show at all, but the probably frivolous lawsuit to try and do like federal RICO charges against advertiser conglomerates. Yeah, there is new trailers for the Sonic 3 movie. It's looking pretty good. We got hard confirmation Keanu's Shadow, which I think everybody knew ahead of time, but like this has actually got some performance. Good for them. Good for everybody. It's good when movies are good. Actually, I know some people are like cheering the downfall of American cinema or whatever, but like it's good when movies are good, y'all.
Yeah, I think I don't think we should want movies to fail. We should just want movies to be better.
Yeah, and like there's definitely room for that. For less than the amount of money Disney is allegedly paying Robert Downey Jr. to come back, Alien Romulus got made, and that's apparently a banger, I'm pretty sure that Sonic 3 is going to be real good. Despite the fact that we saw that there's still weird shit going on with the Borderlands movie, like Turbo not making back its budget, the Sonic movies have managed to all be good so far, and presumably will keep being good. Still haven't seen them. It's a pain in the ass for me to go to the movie theater, y'all. And I don't know what service they're on streaming-wise. That's also still a clusterfuck. That has nothing to do with the movie industry directly. But yeah, yes. It's about how the money is used. You can do a lot with a little. And that's something that I think, like, that's a lost art when it comes to filmmaking. Not literally lost, but you know what I mean. Like, a lot of big budget places are just like, we'll just spend $500,000 or $250 million and fix it in post. Work forever, visual effects kids. This is why big studios are all about AI, because they'd love to be able to spend, less money contracting out VFX houses to work for 20-hour days to fix their movie in post. It won't work, by the way. It like the level of correction that's like, the problem is that everybody wants generative AI to be generalized AI and just fix everything, and AI requires babysitters still. Never mind that, especially depending on where certain court battles go, that major corporations like, Disney, Warner Brothers, etc., don't want to be held legally liable for accidentally misappropriating copyrighted material in their works. If some schmuck does it on Twitter, he just gets, Twitter canceled. If Disney do it, they might lose their lunch. It's a whole thing. But, sorry, that's me. Fight to slightly yawn. I'm losing a little bit.
Sorry, my mic was off for a second.
Yep.
But, I was saying earlier, but I don't think I have anything else to add, and I think we covered that subject fairly enough, so how about you taking us on out of here?
That's perfect. Alrighty, let's do the outro. If you like this video, click the like button on YouTube. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. You can also check out our Discord, link in the video description and on our channel pages. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel to get more videos. Like I said, if you want that servant guide for Sun No DQ, that'll be coming out soon. And even if you're already subscribed, make sure you ring the bell for notifications, because knowing me, that video will get made to public at midnight when maintenance starts. Seems like a good time to do it, honestly. The people, they yearn for the content when they kind of click their phone game. You can also join our channel memberships. And, like I said at the start of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon and get access to episodes early in audio format. That includes our audio for our actual plays. And at higher levels, you can do stuff like vote in the Fanservant Friday poll, get videos like The Wanted early, and generally it all helps us out, and you can even listen to the show get recorded live at the highest tiers. So thank you for all that support. Thanks for the people who showed up and seeing what's up. And we'll get on out of here, and we'll see you next week, where I'm sure there will be many more things to talk about.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Night, y'all.